my privilege was to come here in the early 80s, I think, and to attend the Bert Weir inner, what was it, the inner life, the inner centre within. And I found my centre within, and I thought, this place rocks. And corporate trainer, much like Robert, you know, very much in the corporate world, which I still am. And I've learned how to do both. And I just thought, wow, these are my people. This is my tribe. And got to learn a lot about what I saw in the mirror, and got to learn a lot about myself and other people. And the gift of that was that I was nurtured in my tribe, and I've been giving back to the centre for many, many years since then. I don't know, 10, 15 maybe. I know I've been doing the writer's course for 5 years, and before that I did a leadership course, and before that I did a self-esteem course for children, and I also did a self-esteem course for adults. And it's been my absolute privilege to work here and to work with some seekers like you. We're all seeking, aren't we? We're all longing for that. We're all seeking that. So my journey was very much about learning, and I see it as a two-way process. I'm working with a group of writers downstairs in the Freedom Room, and we are developing our own books, and it's so exciting. We've had 3 hours already, and already we have a story arc about where the book is going, and we also have created monumentally the 3 key areas in the book that really excite them, that they want to discuss about themselves. And they're now having lunch where they're now just looking at finding the nuances of their characters together. They've already established who the book's going to be about. They've already established how it's going to be presented, and they're now figuring out some nuances. So I invite any of you who want to write your first story to please come and join me. Again, like Robert, I come here every couple of months to do the writer's course. We're now focusing on writing your story. We've placed it into the marketplace in different wording, but this seems to be what it actually is. And the people that I'm working with today are doing their own biographies, which is incredibly therapeutic, as we know. Our life journey has been incredibly therapeutic, hasn't it? And that's what we always seek. We're looking for answers, we're looking for questions, we're looking for a whole range of things, and we long for these things. So I find that the journey of writing for me is so profound, because I just find the different layers, find different layers of me, find different layers of my heritage, find different layers of strength. It's wonderful therapy. Fantastic therapy. And once we get over being frightened of actually showing ourselves to ourselves, we can find some really amazing gifts in the journey of writing. I've written a lot of different books, and people say, well, how do you get the time? Well, I don't actually believe in the limited time concept, so there's plenty of time available to me. One of my affirmations is, as I walk, I have all the time in the world to do everything I need to do. And giddy up. That's what's happening. How's that? So I was asked to write this book by a publisher last year, the Book of Hope, Antidote for Anxiety. And my publisher said to me, I'd like, we could do it in 6 months. I said, we? Yes, we could. Okay. So I started to write this, and I thought, well, I had a lot of information, a lot of stories already, and I put that together. And then I needed to really sit with that and think, as a person who has had anxiety as part of my my being all my life, I felt that I was a good person to identify it and also share with you the antidotes that have helped me, because in a lot of ways anxiety is a tremendous gift, because we find ways to work around it, we find ways to learn about where it came from and what its gift is. And I see anxiety as not something that we run away from. We seek to make peace with it. And I've encapsulated that in the book. I've also written some other books too. I've written lots of children's books. I've written a little book called 2 Pennies, which is a story about my dad and how he helped to rebuild the school in Villers-Bretonneux in France, and the relationship between France and Australia. And as a result of that, I wrote a documentary and found a producer, and we produced it. It's run on SBS, and you'll probably find it programmed sometime around Anzac Day this year. Never Forget Australia. And I wrote this from another story that I wrote in the documentary, the little stowaway about a little boy in France who was brought home by some RAF pilots and engineers and adopted in Australia and ended up in Jindawi, living in Jindawi. And that's a beautiful story as well. And I've also written a teenager's book about life choices. And one of the thrills of my life was to write a book called Oliver's First Big Spy Adventure. On a Wednesday, I've been picking up my grandson since he first went to daycare, and we go and have a chat and a talk and some tea and download. And he started to tell me about his inner life as a spy. What a gift. I couldn't look at anything the same way ever again. A door, where does it go? What's behind it? Is it open? Could we open it? How do we get on top of the roof? What? Of course that's a question one would ask a spy. How do we get on the roof? I said, I don't know, honey, but I'm following you. So we get into Indooroopilly shopping town, and we're walking to one of his favourite places. Is it E-World or some place? EB Games World. Oh yeah. Anyway, here we are. We're walking directly to EB Games. And then he says, oh, what's down here? I said, I don't know. What do you think? He said, let's go. So I just walk behind him. And he gets to the end, he opens it, he has a look, he said, oh, that was interesting. And then we walk back, or it's locked. And he said, let's imagine what's in there. So writing this with him was just the most amazing honour, and getting it finished and done was quite an achievement. It's like herding cats, a 9-year-old boy. Getting him, because I'd write the story and then I have to find the right moment, and in the middle of it he discovered girls, which was impairing me to keep the writing going, so we had to write around the fact that he knows girls. So it's to me, writing is a passion. It's like this, it's therapy, it's a dance. When I look at my program and I see that I've got lots of things on in the week, but I've got 2 afternoons, thank you Lionel, for writing, I get pretty excited. The other thing, so if you want to look at, it doesn't matter what you want to write, please come and join me in our next writing course. I would love, and one of the biggest things I do is help you to get over the fear of it, get beyond the fear of it. The other thing that's exciting is that last year, a friend of mine, a colleague who works here also, Rhonda Ohlson, who you may have met through Feldenkrais. I've been with Rhonda for many, many years, and I've been learning about the body and how it works through Feldenkrais. And last year, we did a lot of work together on my body, and she said to me, I really would love to work with you, you know? There must be a way we can work together, and we found it. And we've now devised and developed a course called Second Chance. I don't know what page that's on in the work. 14. Page 14, there you go. Thank you, Joan. And it's about, we all have second chances. I don't know how many you've had. I've had more than 2, whatever second chance means, which is probably a good thing not to know going into a course. But I don't know, how many second chances have you had? 7, somebody said the other day. 10, somebody said. But we ran the first course last weekend and it was absolutely terrific. I enjoyed it. As a presenter, I enjoy all my courses because I believe that when we're teaching, we're also learning. You can't enthusiastically teach anything unless you're learning at the same level, the same degree. It's just not possible. So second chance is about getting through the fear, anxiety and pain of the past and look for new ways of thinking and reprogramming ourselves. I'm learning French at the moment because I want to shift the way my brain thinks up there, like at a cellular level. I go to the piano when I can and play my very simple songs from childhood because I want to shift the way that my brain works, because we get very stuck in very linear thinking and ways of thinking from the past that have served us well but aren't necessarily serving us for now and in the future. So in the Second Chance workshop, we offer 2 things that are really, I think, are unique. We talk about the process of how we can change our thought process. And then Rhonda takes us onto the floor, and any workshop where you get to lie on the floor has got to be good, don't you think? And I lie down on the floor too because I just love that floor work. And a lot of Feldenkrais work is done on the floor, and it's just simple movements that reprogram the brain. And what she does is take what I've just spoken about and does some simple exercises on the floor to reprogram your brain. One of the women in our workshop last Monday could not lie on the floor. Her back was in such pain, it was just not a possibility. And I said, hey, that's fine. You can sit in your chair and imagine doing these exercises from that safe position, because the last thing we want to do is make you feel anything but safe. And so she closed her eyes, and I don't know what it's called in yoga. There's a form of yoga where you just think about it. Does anyone know what that's called? It's a form of yoga where you think about the exercises, and because the brain, the subconscious mind takes that in, you can feel some of the benefits of that yoga from just thinking about it. So she sat in a chair, we were on the floor, and Rhonda took us through the visualization of doing the things. We were able to do them on the floor, but she did those things as she sat on the chair. And afterwards, at the end of the day, and we asked everybody what was valuable out of the session, she said, I can't believe that my back feels better than it's felt in years. She said, I didn't understand how strong the visualization process is. And I will take that with me from today onwards. And until I get better, I will keep doing this for myself visually. So it was really exciting to be a part of that. It was just so thrilling. We discuss old patterns. We all have some favourites. I have black and white thinking as my favourite. And I also do a bit of fortune telling. Anyone else do any fortune telling? You know, the future, it's not looking good. It is and it isn't. Hang on, look at all these. We all have those little default positions we go to. And I just unfold them all and talk about different ways we can change that when we feel ourselves going to those old places, old patterns that we. And then Rhonda got us on the floor and did them on a cellular level, which was great. And then we talked about making peace with anxiety, because I'm very excited about that at the moment. We're not fighting it, we're making peace with it. And kindness, and we talked about sacred service to ourselves, you know, giving ourselves great customer service, loving ourselves, caring for ourselves. You know, if we can't give ourselves good customer service, how dare we turn up for anyone else? This is where it begins and ends, and then we can go out and offer someone else's a hand. So I hope to see you at the Second Chance workshop, and I hope to see you down in the fabulous bookstore, having a look at some books, and I hope that some of you come and enjoy romping around in your imagination at the writer's course. That would be fun. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.